Got head bob to that, man.
Yeah. I always feel bad every week for the podcast people, though. They just get a couple seconds of silence. They don't get to see the magistry. Go over to watch YouTube, everybody.
Oh no, I edit. I make sure
Oh,
that
you edit out the silence. I
I edit
got
out
it.
the
I got
silence.
it. I should have known you're one of the best in the business.
I'm professional-ish. Welcome everyone to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is a man who is both nervous and excited, I guess, about tonight. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
You summed me up perfectly. You know me because I got nervous about the pizza last week after the 4 o'clock versus 45 minutes. I didn't know what was happening, but I'm ready to go. I'm excited this morning. Obviously the football's a little higher stakes for me this week, but I got as usual, I set an alarm for 8 a.m. I don't know what happened. I woke up at 8:45. I don't know if I turned it off and was so deep in sleep I didn't even realize it, or it just didn't go off, but usually alarm's pretty reliable. So I don't think it was the old AM PM deal, because I have a smart device and I told it when to set the alarm. So I don't think it's AM PM, but I'm doing well this morning. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I last night went to see the new arena that was built in Schenectady for Union College. Got to see a Union College hockey game, men's hockey game my first hockey excursion this year. Hopefully it's not my last, but yeah, they had 4-0 shutout win against Brown. Good game.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah. So their goalie Gillespie, I forgot his first name, but his number 29 Gillespie, yeah, he's playing lights out literally, and made this incredible save. I'll send it to you later. It's on their Twitter. It's on all their social medias, and man, it was something to see live. He definitely stole a goal away from a guy from Brown. So, but we're not here to talk about hockey, although that's coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
It's crazy to think about that already, that
Indeed.
we are approaching the end of the season. And the NFL, in a weird way, it always ramps up before the Super Bowl, but I feel like this media cycle for the NFL is about to be white hot. I feel it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We're going to get into everything just a moment. We're going to talk about John Harbaugh and his playing footsie with the New York Giants. We're also going to break down all the NFL Divisional Playoff round games in just a moment. But before that, we're going to just remind you to follow us. Follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also find our other podcasts and written content at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast and listen on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host Podbean, Freshly Brewed Podcasts. And then hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when the show goes live, when there's clips that go up, and when we have general show announcements. Sorry, How I Met Your Mother. Great series. The last 2 seasons sucked. Because Ted's a douche. Also on the podcast side, we are on the Belly Up Sports Twitter /X today. So those of you who are watching on Belly Up Sports Twitter, welcome. So follow us on No Creds REQ on Twitter as well. So this podcast will also be available at 2:30 p.m. on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. So we'll take this down off our site and we'll have it up on the Belly Up Sports YouTube, but it's okay. You can go to the collaborations tab on our YouTube page, and all our videos, all our replays from our live shows will be there. Podcast side, rate, review podcast. Leave a 5-star rating. Leave a review where you can on your favorite podcast platform. Leave a comment. Leave a comment on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, what you're looking forward to. You can also leave a comment on Spotify. And we are a live show Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. We started on time today, Dustin. We started on time.
We did.
It's
a new era. New era.
It's a new level of confidence. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Pantera, baby. We are a live show Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, although we may switch it up this week. But we're typically live Saturday mornings, Tuesday evenings. We talk about the NFL and other sports coming up down the pipe after the NFL season ends. And we already got a comment in the comments section, as you can see in a little preview right down there in the corner there. But Saturday morning, it's a new level of confidence and power. It always cheers me up when I'm, when it wakes me up before I go, Dustin.
Oh, much like those stunning vocals of Phil Anselmo, chime time will get you going.
It does. All right, and comments from the comment section. James saying, "Morning, gents. This week, I'm not bothering to drag myself out of bed early for a game." Well, there's really no need to, because all these games are in the mid to late afternoon start. So no about, you can go back to bed. Not stay with us, of course. Don't go back to bed until we're done here. But you are more than welcome to take a nap before the games. We'll preview those games in just a moment. But first, we have to talk about the I don't know how to call this, the impending announcement, the handshake agreement, the playing footsie, kind of flirting with each other. But apparently John Harbaugh is set to become the New York Football Giants head coach. The announcement's coming any day now. But I've been reading on social media, I'm sure you have, Dustin, that the deal has not been set. Money is not an issue, but the language of the contract is. And I have a theory as to why, but I want to get your thoughts. I want to get your thoughts about this whole situation, Dustin. What we've seen it on our social medias, on Belly Up Facebook, from Nate and from Brian, who are absolutely, how am I going to censor this? Let's just say they're excited.
Yeah, they're jacked up. I saw a clip from Nate. He was really excited. The smile was there.
And he was like, it's like 3, and he made that video at like 5 in the morning in California. He's in California. It's California time. He's all excited. So, but let's talk about this situation before we go to our divisional games. What are your thoughts about this situation? What do you think about this?
Well, I kind of did a little reading last night, because in the post show for Seahawks sessions, sometimes Dan and Kevin and I, we BS a little bit after the show. It is on the Time to BS network after all. But we BS a little bit after the show, and Dan kind of said, he looked at his phone, he said, "Giants, what are you doing?" And I said, "Wait, what?" And I started, so before I did show prep for our lovely show, I did a little bit of reading, and there was an article out there. I think it was New York Daily. I can't remember. I should have linked it. But they basically said that this contract is far from final. They're still trying to hammer out details, and one of the major sticking points apparently is a predictable one. There are rumors that Joe Schoen's role, if Harbaugh were to come in and be their head coach, there would be restructuring as far as Joe Schoen's role and what he does with the team. He would still be GM, but the article pointed out that John Harbaugh collaborated heavily with Ozzie Newsome, former GM of the Ravens, and also Eric DeCosta, the current GM of the Baltimore Ravens. And he expects that same level of collaboration, and perhaps more, if he were to join the New York Giants. And it is apparently Joe Schoen and his Uncrustables that are, kind of causing an issue. But to me, this was predictable, because if I'm John Harbaugh, I'm going to want control. I'm going to want, he has more leverage right now than any coach I can remember in recent times. So this I saw this coming, and I still, not all the moves that Joe Schoen has made have been bad, and Giants ownership came out and they said that they were going to retain him. But I was kind of shocked, because yes, Joe Schoen did draft Jackson Dart. that early returns on that look like it was a good decision, provided somebody's got to teach Jackson how to slide. And then the other thing is drafting Cam Scatterbo. That pick looks to be a good pick. The trade for Brian Burns, that was a good move. Malik Neighbors, picking him up, provided he can stay healthy. I think he will be, should he come back from his injury, I think he will be good. But here's the thing. He's also made a lot of mistakes, namely at the top of the list, letting Saquon Barkley walk and bringing in as his replacement Motor, a.k.a. Devin Singletary. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Singletary, but I was kind of surprised that they retained Shane. And now apparently the level of control and power that he doesn't want to give up is causing a hitch for one John Harbaugh. So who knows what happens? Ryan, what have you heard about this?
So yeah, that basically it's the language in the contract. Money's not going to be an issue. The Mars are willing and able to prepare to pay John Harbaugh what he was making in Baltimore, which was something between 5 years and $200 million, roughly $40 million a year to coach their team. Not a problem there. They can afford it. Most of the league owners, unless you're Woody Johnson or Mike Brown, can afford it. So I did a quick search on Twitter in regards to John Harbaugh, and Adam Schefter tweeted about close to an hour ago before the show began. He says, New York Giants and John Harbaugh, they're still working on finalizing a deal with the hope that the Giants could introduce him at a Tuesday press conference, but they're still not there yet. Still not there yet. Heading in the right direction, one source said this morning. And Jordan Rannon, who is the beat reporter at ESPN for the Giants, says, first off, John Harbaugh will get finalized soon. But as they sort through organizational and operational issues, something to keep in mind. Change is difficult, but spoke with former players and coaches who were at the Ravens and the Giants. To a man, they suggested the Ravens operation was running at a different level. Everything from analytics, training, video, medical, personnel. Baltimore is known to spare no expense. Huge staffs, top-notch facilities, one of the best run organizations, top to bottom in the NFL. Several that know Harbaugh well suggested he will want major changes to the way the Giants organization operates. That appears to be taking shape from the jump. And I say, good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a theory. You kind of spoke about Joe Schoen's job possibly being in jeopardy. I had the thought that was the language in the contract that John Harbaugh wanted to select his own GM. But looking at what Jordan Rannon had wrote about 45 minutes before the show started, it's not going to be the GM. It's going to be the things that the Giants already have in place. He wants major change. If he wants the Giants to work in the way that he worked with the Ravens, he's going to say, okay, I need a bigger staff. I need a bigger staff to do analytics. I need a bigger staff for training. I need to make sure my players are healthy. I need to make sure the welfare of my players is the utmost highest level, like we had with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
And good for him. Because we need to see more of this in football. Because we talk about player safety all the time. We talk about the field, how the field is bad for the players, especially at MetLife Stadium, which is, I'm hoping. Here's the thing too that kind of really ruffles my jimmies. This ruffles my jimmies. I need to get that element. Is that the turf is terrible. We've seen 20. I think I did a rough count. There have been 20 catastrophic injuries since 2020 at that stadium because the turf is so bad. But for the FIFA World Cup, and MetLife Stadium is hosting the World Cup final this year, they're ripping all that turf out and they're putting in natural grass. And that just drives me up a wall. Because owners talk about player safety. The NFL, the league talks about player safety. Guess what should be part of player safety? The surface that they play on.
Yeah.
Should be. And I don't care if they have to, if it's the Johnsons, the Maras, the New Jersey State Authority, because that's the stadium's in New Jersey. I get clowned all the time about it on social media as being a Jets fan. Oh, they don't play New York, they play New Jersey. It's part of the New York metro market, schmucks. But the surface the surface that the players play on has to be safe. That surface is not safe. Talk to Malik Neighbors, talk to Aaron Rodgers, talk to every player who has had a season-ending injury or a major injury happen on that turf, on that stadium. And John Harbaugh is saying, no, I want my players to be safe. I want my players to be taken care of well. And if that's the language in the contract, good. Good for him. Good for John Harbaugh. So that's my thoughts about it. We've got more comments in the comments section. I took off. I was experimenting with the comments, and I'm just like, this is too distracting.
Yeah, you want to read the comments.
Yeah. So I want to read those comments out. James saying, I'm still waiting for the Steelers to appoint Joey Porter as head coach. Good luck. In fact, I made a trade offer. I said, you can have Aaron Glenn and all 5 of our first round picks next year for Mike Tomlin.
Oh, man.
But I from what I understand, Mike Tomlin wants to take some extended time off, to which is, again, good for him. Nobody can have his rights until 2027 anyway, because the Steelers still own them. KJ and PA saying, oh man, I made it for sports ball. Yeah, you did, buddy. Yeah, you did. And James saying, you would think we'd have learned from the turf issues at the vet. Listen, the turf monster at the vet was a different animal. I'm glad it's dead.
Oh yeah, no, I mean you listen to older Eagles, former Eagles player talk about the turf, quote unquote, at the vet. They said that was more like cement with spray paint over it.
Yeah.
You know,
talk to Michael Irvin, talk to Tom Waddle, who I believe tore both his ACLs on that turf as a wide receiver for the Bears back in the day. But yeah, I like I said, John Harbaugh, he wants what he wants. And the Giants are willing to give him pay him the contract that he wants. Great, but he wants more. He's been in the league, and he's a winner in Baltimore. Granted, he only won 1 Super Bowl, but he took his team to numerous division championships with him. They went to many playoff appearances with him, and he knows how to win. So give him what he wants.
And also, the other thing that I just kind of thought of in doing the math here, the reason he wants all those changes, the contract's not going to be like some 10-year contract where he takes it over and he oversees a rebuild. John Harbaugh is in his 60s. He left a situation in Baltimore where they were in contention every year, and he wants to do that again. He's not coming to teach and rebuild. He's not coming to do that. He's coming to turn the Giants around in a year and contend immediately. That's what he wants.
Yep. And speaking of contending, we're going to move on to our next topic, which is the NFL Divisional Round. It starts today at 4:30 p.m. Eastern with our first game. Buffalo Bills travel to the Mile High City to take on the Denver Broncos. This will be a 4:30 p.m. start on CBS. And thank God there's no streaming networks that you have to pay for all these games this week. CBS, Fox, ABC/ESPN, NBC/Peacock have all the games. So not to worry if you are a traditional cable viewer or on the antenna. Let's talk about this game between the Bills and the Broncos. I'm going to start off with my thoughts here. All right. You start off with your thoughts about John Harbaugh. Last week, talked about the Bills. They traveled to Jacksonville. I'm sorry. They traveled here. Duval.
Thank you for delaying that a little bit because I would have spit take my coffee.
Dang it. I was trying to get you to spit take your coffee. They traveled to face a white-hot Jaguars team. They got into a heavyweight fight. This was a heavyweight fight. The Bills took the win, but not without casualty because both Tyrell Shavers and Gabe Davis were both placed on IR and already taking away from an already thin receiver core for the Bills. But not only is the receiving core thin, Josh Allen got hammered last week by the Jaguars. Didn't matter if he was carrying the ball. Didn't matter if he was trying to took the pass. He was getting hammered. We saw several times. He was, when a one running play, he was holding his knee because his knee got hit. They thought he had a concussion. We already knew he had a foot injury, but all these things came into play. But hey, they couldn't get they couldn't get James Cook going. That's part of the big deal for the Bills. We saw James Cook won the rushing title this year. They couldn't get him going in this game. Jacksonville had the number one ranked rush defense this year in the NFL. Now the Bills are facing the number 2 rush defense in the league. And not only that, but the Broncos also record the most sacks in the league this year. On the flip side, Bo Nix facing a team that bounced the Broncos last year in the wild card round. It looked like they were going to be an upset. It looked like it was going to be an upset bid very early, but the Bills took care of business. This time around, it's at Mile High Stadium. It's going to have the wild crowd behind him. And will he come through? That's the big question this year has been, will Bo Nix come through? And there's spots where he's definitely come through. The Giants game, the game against the Chiefs. This offense has been kind of because it's a Sean Payton offense.
Yeah,
you saw what it looked like in New Orleans. Bo Nix is not Drew Brees. Hate to say it, but that's the part where I'm talking about. Will he come through? Because we talk about Sean McDermott's defense. This defense should not be dismissed. They should not be dismissed at all. They forced 2 picks last week out of Trevor Lawrence, including the game-saving interception. But for the Broncos to win, and we saw this last week against Jacksonville too, this Bills rushing defense, it's not great. It's still an atrocity. It's still atrocious. They allowed 154 yards last week to the Jaguars at a clip of 6.7 yards per run. Oh. So the Broncos they did not have a 1,000-yard rusher on this team. J.K. Dobbins led the team with a little, not even 800 yards on this team. But you got J.K. Dobbins, you got R.J. Harvey, you got Bo Nix, who has that scrambling ability to keep plays alive. This is going to be a very interesting game because the Broncos' rushing attack was mid-level. It was mid-level this year. Bo Nix has 5 rushing touchdowns. But all in all, for this game, I expect it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game between 2 defenses who, one defense sacked the quarterback the most times this year, also second in the league in rushing defense. The other defense knows a battle-tested group. They know how to make defensive plays at the right time, though, as we saw last week against the Jaguars and that game-ending interception. That's my thoughts about this game, Dustin. What are your thoughts about Buffalo at Denver?
Oh, well, we've got some similar thoughts, but here's the thing, and I know Broncos fans are they're gonna think I'm dismissing their team, and they're gonna get angry at me. The Broncos defense is very good, and they are elite at rushing the passer. The Broncos defense has the league lead in sacks, and they almost have from the start of the season. It's been unbelievable. This game is a tough game to call. I've kind of gone back and forth on it, like I have with some other games in this weekend. But here's the thing about the Broncos. I do not trust their offense. You mentioned it, Ryan. Bo Nix is not Drew Brees. But here's the thing, and I hate to do this, Ryan, but Bo Nix and the Broncos, they almost lost to the Jets in London to bring that game up again.
It's true.
The Jets led for the majority of that game. That was almost a victory that the Broncos had to pull some stuff off in the fourth quarter. And here's the thing, it's not that on one lens you could look at it as it's battle tested. They've come back. They've shown an ability to win. But I kind of look at it the other way. They lost they almost lost to an offensively challenged team in London in the New York Jets. And they benefited from another massive collapse by one of the other New York teams. The Giants defense blew that lead. That's the reason Shane Bowen isn't there anymore, because they did that 4 consecutive times. They do, however, have a great defense that can sack the QB, as I've already mentioned. The Bills' defense is not great, to put it lightly, against the run, as you perfectly laid out, Ryan. But they are pretty good against the pass. The Bills can stop the pass a little bit. So it's going to be up to the Broncos running backs to win this game on offense for the Broncos. And I feel like, and I made this analogy on Seahawks sessions last night as well, and stay with me, Ryan, because some people might think that it's an insult to Josh Allen. But you remember how Ben Roethlisberger was hard to bring down because he was big and he could move a little bit?
Yep.
Josh Allen is the much, much, much more athletic version of that.
You're not wrong. Honestly, you're not wrong.
Yeah, and I feel like Josh Allen's size and elusiveness and athleticism and ability to extend plays is going to be just enough to slightly diminish that Broncos elite pass rush. And if the Broncos are able to shut down James Cook, they will win this game. But I also feel like the Broncos, if they want to win this game, they need to get out to an early lead. But if this game is close, I give the edge to the Bills, and I think Josh Allen, James Cook will do just enough because he can catch the ball a little bit out of the backfield. Knox and Kincaid, of course, because the Bills have two tight ends that double as their number one wideouts. And then also, we don't know if this person is going to play or not. He's listed as questionable. But if Ty Johnson plays, he does a lot for the Buffalo Bills out of the backfield, including catching passes. If this game is close, I think the Buffalo Bills pull it out at the end.
Forgot to mention Ty Johnson, former New York Jet.
Yeah.
As is John Franklin Myers, who was a big part of that defensive line for the Denver Broncos. Yeah. I would not. I'm not gonna sniff how can I put this? Yeah, that comparison of Josh Allen being a more athletic Ben Roethlisberger it's very astute. Honestly, because it is. He's very hard to bring down, but he's more mobile than Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah. Well, I would argue Ben Roethlisberger has a better arm, but
okay,
that's just my opinion. Right.
The Josh Allen stands, they're coming for you, Ryan.
Whatever. Let him come.
Let them come.
I'll be Jon Snow. With the sword. I'm gonna fight by myself. All right, moving on to our nightcap. Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. The San Francisco 49ers travel to Seattle to face the Seattle Seahawks, who are the number 1 seed in the NFC. And I know you probably talked about this. You definitely talked about this a lot last night on Seahawks sessions, Dustin. But I want to get your thoughts about this game in regards to Seattle's chances, San Francisco's chances. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I have some thoughts, and as always, we did break it down on Seahawks sessions, but I kept some of my thoughts to myself because, I have 2 other gentlemen on that show that they have a lot of thoughts, and I have a lot of thoughts, but I always keep some thoughts in the chamber for NCR. But I said it last night, I'll say it again. It's become... I am a nervous football fan. I'm a nervous person in certain situations by nature, and that carries over to my sports fandom because that's what I am. I am no expert. I am a fan. I would be lying if I said that I was super confident heading into these games. This game. These 2 teams know each other very well, and I think the 49ers, they're going to come out playing better than they did last game. They've had this game circled. You could just tell they were not happy with the way that the last game. I mean, the Seahawks defense had an all-time performance against the Niners last game. I do not think that happens twice in a row. They limited Christian McCaffrey to 23 yards rushing in week 18. That doesn't happen again. I think Christian McCaffrey will come out. He will have a better game. Shanahan and the coaches, they will have a game plan for that, but I do think Seattle's rushing defense will contain him to some degree, because there's a stat that was pretty impressive for the Seahawks rushing defense to end the season. They have not, in 5 weeks, they have not allowed a rush over 12 yards. 12 yards. So nobody is ripping off big chunk runs against the Seahawks run defense. It's pretty impressive, especially when you consider they faced McCaffrey in that run. They faced Jonathan Taylor in that run. They faced Bijan Robinson in that run. So that's impressive. But he will have more rushing yards in this game, Christian McCaffrey. And in week 18, he had 66 yards receiving out of the backfield. I think he could possibly have more. The Seahawks will have to shut him down in the passing game to win this game. They also need to pressure Brock Purdy and not allow him to run around and extend plays. Pass rush has got to get to Brock Purdy a little bit more than they did in week 18. George Kittle, unfortunately for Niners fans, he's going to be sipping tequila on the sidelines. It's a monumental loss at tight end, but Tunges has played well. San Francisco has been the epitome of next man up this year. So hats off to them. The X factor in this game is the Seahawks run game. The run game finally showed up in week 18 against the Niners. The offensive line was controlling the line of scrimmage and opening holes. K9 and Charbonnet, sipping on Charbonnet, they both ripped off some big runs, and it allowed Seattle to control the clock while keeping the Niners off the field. They're going to have to follow that blueprint to win this game. It's a close one, but I think this on the strength of Seattle's defense and the lack of the 49er pass rush because of their injuries, the Seahawks, they move on. Hopefully. Come on, guys.
My thoughts on this game. I'll keep it much more brief than my esteemed co-host. But again, if you want to watch a more in-depth look at the Seahawks, go to Seahawks Sessions on the Time to BS YouTube channel. Did we see these two teams play 2 weeks ago? I have 2 questions about this game. My first question, which Seahawks offense will show up in this game? Remember what happened last year with Sam Darnold in his first playoff performance? Granted, as a Minnesota Viking, he was sacked 9 times. Had a miserable experience in his first NFL playoff game. Granted, it was a fly.
There was like a little fly or something. Sorry. I was like, I think I can get him.
Where's your chopsticks? Come on. Anyway, getting back to this game. Sam Darnold, miserable first experience in the playoffs last year, sacked 9 times against the Rams in Arizona because of the wildfires happening in Los Angeles. Game got moved to Arizona. Not that it made a difference. The Rams still would have smacked around the Vikings. This year, though, I don't think he'll see ghosts in this game because he has a better running game to support him. Aaron Jones, God bless him. Not the solution in Minnesota. I've let a friend who's a Vikings fan know you need a bell cow running back. Aaron Jones ain't it. Great, good for him though. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, nice dual-headed attack in the backfield for the Seahawks. They need to set up the run to get the pass going between Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba and company. For the Niners, they faced an offense in the Eagles last week that was a shell of itself. Let's be honest. It was a shell of itself in 2025 compared to 2024 because of who was running that offense. Then we saw Kevin Patullo, out of here, buddy. He's gone. So no more of that. And I guess there's rumblings in Philadelphia that the Eagles might be drafting another quarterback in the draft this year.
Wow.
Rumblings. Nothing's for certain yet. We'll find out in late April. Back to this game. My second question: Can the Seahawks defense dial up the performance they had 2 weeks ago to clinch the NFC West and home field advantage? That Week 18 performance, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We'll go back in the archives. That was special. That was a special performance. 173 yards allowed, 1 turnover forced. They only sacked Brock Purdy 2 or 3 times, but
2 times, yeah.
They 2 times they hit him They hit him whenever he's going back to pass. They bullied him, absolutely bullied him, and they limited Christian McCaffrey. If they repeat that performance, I think the Seahawks' chances of winning improves, but they have to be better offensively. And I screamed from the mountaintops on the last show. We saw last week too many coaches leaving too many points off the board. Take the points when you can, because if you do this like they did last week, the Seahawks' first drive in their last game against the 49ers resulted in bubkiss. You cannot leave points off the board against a coach like Kyle Shanahan who will make you pay. The Eagles did that last week. We saw it in other games last week where teams go for you on fourth down and goal and get nothing. Coming up empty. Take the points where you can. I think if Mike McDonald does that, I think the Seattle Seahawks, in their chances of winning, it improves exponentially. But this is going to be a very close game, just like I think Buffalo and Denver will be. All right. Again, engage with us in the comment section. Please do that. And again, in the comment section on the replay, leave a comment below. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, our network mandated commercial break. When we come back, we'll preview the other two divisional games that are happening on Sunday. So stand by and stay tuned for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. Not going to say much more about that, about Invader Coffee, except for what the handsomely voiced man in the commercial said. Go to our affiliate link in the description on Facebook, YouTube, and in the podcast link. That's our affiliate link. You help out the show with every order. Thank you to Invader Coffee for being one of our longest running affiliate sponsor on No Credentials Required. Go to our link in the description. That helps the show a little bit. And you save 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP at checkout. I just looked at the website. They have a limited supply of stuff because they just sold out of a bunch of stuff during the holiday. But yeah, I'm currently drinking their Shadow Blend, which is their collaboration with Shadow Systems. It's a good blend. Go out and get it. And also get yourself a golden ticket to be entered for a free pew pew pew. So Invader Coffee. Visit the link in the description. Order some of the best coffee you'll ever try, and save yourself some cash with promo code BELLYUP at checkout. 15% off your order. All right, Sunday games. Houston at New England. Sunday 3 p.m. on ABC and ESPN. Simulcast on both stations because the mouse. I'm going to talk about this game briefly. Like their counterparts in the other AFC divisional game, this will be a low-scoring dogfight. Here's what New England needs to do to win. They need to do two things on offense. They need to protect Drake May. They need to feed Ramondre Stevenson and Trayvon Henderson. But here's the problem. While the Patriots were 6th in rushing during the regular season, the Texans finished 4th in stopping the run. You can see a common pattern here. A lot of these teams who were adept at stopping the run this year, they're currently in the playoffs. Houston Texans notwithstanding. And again, we saw that ability to stop the run in the wild card when the Texans allowed only 63 yards of rushing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Warren only had 43 yards, 43 of those yards in that game. But let's go back to Drake May. Last week, I mentioned he was the 4th most sacked quarterback in the NFL this season. He was sacked 47 times. The Chargers, to their credit, the defense, they did their job. They got to him 5 times, including a strip sack, which their offense did nothing to capitalize on. Take the points, Harbaugh. We know how good the Texans defense is. We have lauded them repeatedly on this program, and other shows have lauded their defense repeatedly, but their offense offense is going to need to step up against this Patriots defense. And again, I'll ask, will the real CJ Stroud please stand up? Yes, last week, again, the wild card, 250 yards passing and a touchdown, but he also accounted for 3 turnovers. He was sacked. He was sacked numerous times by the Steelers defense, including 2 strip sack fumbles, and he threw an interception in the third quarter. Patriots defense, they got after Justin Herbert in their wild card game. 6 sacks, including 2 on the final drive by the Chargers. Milton Williams, Clavon Cheeson, they had 2 sacks each in the wild card. They need to keep CJ Stroud in the pocket. They need to limit his scramble ability. And again, where that scramble ability goes, CJ Stroud, if they want to advance to the AFC Championship. So those are my thoughts on this game. Dustin, what are your thoughts about Texans Patriots?
Well, for my thoughts about Texas Patriots, I'm going to refer back to another game that we've already talked about, and you'll see the corollary that I'm going to make in a second. Here's the thing. The Texans defense is unbelievable. As you said, Ryan, we've talked a lot about how good they are. Other shows on the Belly Up Network have talked about how good they are. Everybody's talked about how good they are. We know what the Texans defense is at this point. D'Amico Ryan's doing a great job down there. But they will be able to sack Drake May. They will be able to pressure him, and they will, based on their past performance, be able to limit the Patriots' ability to run the ball, which, as you pointed out, was one of the Patriots' strong suits this year. I do not know whether it will be enough to win the game because, similar to the Broncos to me, I do not trust this Texans offense. Their defense is all world, but their offense is suspect. The Texans' rushing attack has been hit or miss this season. Sometimes Marks has looked good. When it's Nick Chubb back there, I love Nick Chubb and his comeback story, but he couldn't get anything going. I still don't understand why Joe Mixon did not play at all. But CJ Stroud, he's played better as of late, but he has also been careless with the ball a little bit. Remember those 2 fumbles last week in Pittsburgh? He wasn't protecting the football. The Texans offense was also dealt another blow because Nico Collins has been ruled out for this game.
Ooh.
That is a big blow to the Texans offense. We've seen what they looked like without some of their main cogs being out on the field. I saw it firsthand when the Texans played the Seahawks early in the season. And you could say, well, that was week 4 or 5. That was really early in the season. Yeah, but the things still hold true. The Texans defense in that game kept the Texans in that game, and the offense just couldn't get anything going to get them back into it. The Texans defense is what kept that game close, and I think this game will follow a similar roadmap. If the Patriots defense plays anything like they did against the Chargers last week, it'll be a problem for CJ Stroud. The Texans defense will keep them in this game, but I think the Patriots do enough to advance.
Yes, the first 3 games of this slate, they're going to be dog fights, man. They're going to be such heavyweight fights. It's going to be, you'll see the first initial feeling out period, then you'll see the big blows come in the later rounds. It's going to be these first 3 games are going to be dog fights. Unlike the last game of the slate, LA Rams visiting the Chicago Bears Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on NBC and Peacock. Dustin, what are your thoughts about this game?
Man, this game, and again, we have friends that are we have friends that are Ram fans, friends of the show. Some of them could get mad at me here. This could be the game of the entire slate. Okay, this is the one that I've gone back and forth on a bunch, probably the most. Will the Bears be able to dial it up in the fourth quarter again? I think they will. It's a cliche, it's a thing, but here it is. The Bears have momentum right now. They came back after being down 21-3 at the half and 21-6 well into the third quarter, and they did that against the defense because the Rams defense is good. The Rams defense is good, but here's the thing. the defense that the Bears came back against, yeah, they didn't have Micah Parsons, but they were still just outside the top 10 in the league in total defense. I think they were 11th or 12th in the league overall. And that's the thing. The Packers defense, no slouch, even without Micah Parsons. And victories like that, if they start to stack up in the way that the Bears have won recent games, they make you believe. And they almost came back on the 49ers. They barely lost that game. This game is playing with confidence, or this team is playing with confidence, the Bears. And Caleb Williams threw for 150 yards in the fourth quarter last week. So will he be able to do that again? I don't think so, but they have the ability, and that's key. They believe they can do it. The Rams will be ready to play, and I think they will come out swinging. The Bears will need to weather the storm and try their best to keep up, because I think the Rams will strike early. They have weapons all over the offense, and Kyron Williams and Blake Corum will run all over a subpar Bears run defense. Puka Nacua will have a great game because it seems like he always does. But here's why I think the Bears will ultimately pull this one out. Matthew Stafford has had a wonderful season, and he will probably win the MVP. However, heading into the Falcons games, he had 6 interceptions total on the season. He threw 3 in that game. Mike Jackson also picked him off twice last week. Stafford, by his standards, has been a little – there's those interceptions – they weren't coming early in the season, and something is going on. Defenses are starting to figure something out. So he's had a little bit of an uptick in interceptions, and the Bears defense has been very good at one thing, generating turnovers. I think the Bears win this one late.
All right, what thoughts about this game? Of every game of the weekend, this will be the highest. This game will have the highest final score. Yeah. I said it last week. The Bears need to get points on the board on their first drive against the Packers so they have a chance to win. They got points in their first drive. It's a field goal. It was still points, though. But I think for the Bears to win, they need to score in their first drive and their second drive and their third drive. They can't get off to a slow start like they did last week against the Packers. The Bears, and Caleb Williams especially, cannot get off to a slow start against a Rams team that has an offense that is miles ahead of the Packers. We're talking about the Packers offense. Packers offense is good. Rams offense is great.
Yeah.
All right. No mistake about it. We saw last week what Matthew Stafford did in the last 2 minutes of that game. But the Rams, they can't have another near meltdown like they did last week against the Panthers in the wild card. They had not one, but 2 double-digit leads in the first half, a 14-point lead and a 10-point lead, and they blew both of them. They also had a punt block against them, too, so their special teams problems well documented. But Matthew Stafford, again, he pulled them out in the end. But the Bears aren't the Panthers. And like you mentioned, Dustin, the Bears caused the most turnovers in the NFL this year. They led the league in interceptions. We saw last week Stafford threw a pick against the Panthers. Will there be another double-digit comeback by the Bears this week, or will it be a back and forth affair? And I'm hoping it turns into this game. Now, I know you were kind of relatively new in your football fandom at this time. Do you remember the 2003 divisional between the Colts and the Chiefs?
I believe I do. Yes.
You know how many punts were? You know how many punts were in that game?
I believe it was a goose egg, if memory serves.
0. The only time the ball was turned over was by the Chiefs. Missed field goal and a fumble. Otherwise, no punts. It was either a field goal or a touchdown. It was a complete shootout in that game. Absolute masterclass by Peyton Manning. And at that time, the quarterback for the Chiefs, I believe it was
Trent Green.
I almost said Trevor. I meant Trent. Trent Green. Trent Green
that
was
was
Dick Vermeil's head coach of the Chiefs.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, he was the head coach, and that was the Larry Johnson in the get your diaper or whatever Dick Vermeil said. I can't remember that, or was it Priest Holmes?
I think it was Priest Holmes.
Yeah, it might have
Those
been
are the Priest Holmes.
Holmes.
Those are the Priest Holmes day. Priest Holmes running wild, brother, on the field of Arrowhead Stadium. Couple comments before we get out of here. Cliches. James saying cliches aside, he's talking about the Texans Patriots game. It's going to come down to quarterback play. Whoever makes the few mistakes and all that. He also says that if the Bears fall behind early, I don't think they're coming back from this one this time. I agree. I agree because I think the Rams defense, they had a little bit of a letdown last week against the Panthers. Panthers had home field on their side. The Bears are going to have home field on their side too. So the thing is, unlike the Packers, the Rams know how to, and Sean McVay especially, they know how to keep the foot on the throat of their opponent.
They do, but I would make one small argument in that ever since the Rams blew that lead against the Seahawks, they haven't looked quite the same, and it's kind of, I would say that it's kind of changed Sean McVay's coaching style because they had the lead early in that Seahawks game. They had a big lead. Everybody knows it. But what Sean McVay did, and you've talked about it this entire show, Ryan, he didn't take the points. He kept going for it on fourth down. He did that for 3 straight drives, and it cost them. It cost them. If he had taken the points, the Rams win that game. The Seahawks would have come back and made it close, but the Rams would have won. He kept going for it. Even as a Seahawks fan, I'm sitting there, I'm going, McVay, what are you doing? Like, you keep going for it. I think it's because he wanted to convert and he wanted to keep his foot on the throat of the Seahawks, but it backfired. He didn't take the points.
What's the lesson, coaches? Take the points wherever you can.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get ourselves out of here. Shorter show than usual on Saturday, but hey, we're still glad you joined us. If you're listening on podcast platform again, listen, give us thanks for listening and for watching on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel a little bit later today. Thank you for watching, but we're going to get out of here. Before we get out of here, though, just want to remind you to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also find our other podcasts and written content at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, hit the subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host, Podbean. Freshly Brewed Podcasts. Hit that notification bell on Twitter, on YouTube, so you are notified when the show goes live, when we have clips that go up, and when we have general announcements about the show, like this one. Tomorrow night, after the Bears-Rams game is ended, I'm going to record our final installment of college football playoff with friend of the show, guys. We're going to be previewing the championship game. I will be doing a live react stream on Monday night for that same game. So come on by. I'll have a beer, a cold brew, and other libations next to me so I can keep myself well hydrated for this game. It won't be like the Monday night misery stream like a couple months ago. This will be, hopefully it won't be too much of a beatdown by Indiana against Miami, but hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hopefully not. I tuned in for the last one. I think I'm going to tune in for this one, Ryan.
Hey, all right. And we are also going to record our reactions to the divisional playoff games. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. We'll figure things out. But in the meantime, we want to thank you for tuning in to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Enjoy your Saturday. I know it's snowing up here in the Northeast. I'm going to be snow blowing or shoveling very, very soon. But I will lock myself in for the rest of the day on Saturday to watch the games and also watch them on Sunday and enjoy my day off on Monday because I have Monday off. So Dustin doesn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, have a great weekend. Enjoy the football or whatever sport you're going to be watching in the meantime. And we'll be back here early next week to review the divisional games. So thanks for joining us and have a great weekend.
Good morning, everybody.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.